And now, it's time for the Well-Read Llama with your host, author Erin Mifflin.
Hello, listeners. The heat of summer has arrived here in Missouri. It's getting to be the perfect time of year to stay indoors and read. I'm currently reading a book by Karen Whittemire called Part of Your World, and it's a Texas retelling of The Little Mermaid. It's perfectly charming so far, and the Ursula character is my favorite. I'm reading an early copy, but it will be available for purchase on June 16th, so that's coming up soon. I'm excited about today's guest. We'll be talking to Gina Holder, an author who mostly writes romantic suspense. Though I don't read a lot of romantic suspense, I have to tell you that her current release sounds right up my alley. You are going to want to hear all about it. We'll talk about her other books too, including some adorable children's picture books. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you would take a moment to follow me on social media. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram at author Erin Mifflin. That way you can stay in the loop on all my writing news and personal news and interview news as far as which authors we'll be having next on the show. I'd love to have you along for the journey. Now, let's bring in our guest. Hello, Gina, and welcome.
Hi, I'm really glad to be here and thanks for having me.
Yes. Now, your book, The Escape Game, released last month. What can you tell us about this story?
So, The Escape Game tells the story of Demi Kane and Liam Shepard. Demi is a literal genius who runs a puzzle store in a small town. And 20 years ago, her father disappeared, leaving only a cryptic message behind. But it's unsolvable without his journal that they've never been able to find. Liam comes into her little town looking for his missing sister, who left behind only the clue of a bus route map that shows that she was headed to this town. And through a couple serious things that happen, they find the journal and decipher the message and learn that her father was planning to come back after visiting some place called the Ives Mystery House. So they do a little detecting and find this mansion outside of town. They go there, they're let inside, and they become trapped in a whole house escape room. But the games, they quickly learn, are deadly.
Oh, that sounds so intriguing. Is The Escape Game part of a series?
It is. It is book 2 in the Game Masters series. It is completely standalone, so all characters' settings are all unique to the book. What connects them is the concept of the villains who create intricate puzzles that thwart the main characters at every turn.
Oh, very interesting. I like the idea, kind of like an escape room like that. I've only ever done one official escape room, but when I had a big birthday a few years ago, I actually put together an escape room, except all of the questions had something to do with me. So that was pretty fun to put together.
That sounds so fun.
Now, your first novel, Whither Shall I Go, is a historical missionary story. Does it take any inspiration from a real missionary from the past, or did you just draw the whole thing from your imagination?
So it doesn't take any inspiration from any real missionaries. However, I have been on several missions trips, and I actually lived on the mission field for 3.5 years. So it did take a little from my experience of being a missionary's kid and seeing the world through other people's eyes from around different countries around the world.
Very cool.
But I did make it all up.
Right. Maybe just from some of the feelings and different things
Yes.
that you observed, yes. Now, most of your books are romantic suspense. Do you think you'll write historical again?
I'm not sure. When I finished Whither Shall I Go, I had the idea to take the brothers from the story and give them they're each their own book. But I have found that I get bogged down in research when I do historical and can't quite figure out what to use and what to cut. So it can get a
Yes.
little heavy on the research side of things. And I discovered that I really love mystery suspense.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of readers who love it too.
Yes.
So, can you tell us about some of your other suspense book besides the Game Master series?
So my other romantic suspense series that I have is the Shadows over Whitman series. It's a trilogy of a mother and her two daughters, so it's kind of a family drama as well as romantic suspense. And it begins with Paige, who learns that she was adopted, but that she was not just adopted, she was abandoned as an infant on the steps of a firehouse. And she decides to go in search of her birth mother. And when she finds her birth mother doesn't want to be found. And so that leads into some different elements to the story. The suspense comes from the fact that the birth mother is running for a political position and people don't want her to get that. So there's some danger and some things happening. But people trying to keep her, but at the same time, there's this family element going on of trying to reunite this mother and daughter.
Now, reviews of your books mention a strong faith theme. Why is it important to you to include faith in your novels?
So for me, faith is inseparable from who I am. My faith is everything to me, and that comes out in the lives of my characters, though my focus in writing is to take different lessons from the Word of God and put them into these lives of imaginary people and have them work out what that would look like in their life and whether that would change their life in a more personal way or change their perspective on how that they view other things in life.
Yes. Yep. When you can look at life through stories, but look at real issues, that tends to
Hmm.
draw people in and make them think a little bit differently.
Yes.
Yeah. Jesus set a good example for that.
Hmm. I want them to see what God has said, that how that can help them in their
Yes.
real life.
Right. Now, I did not know until I was looking on your website in preparation for this interview, but you also write children's picture books, and they look adorable. So it looks like you have 3 out right now. Can you tell us about them?
Sure. So I never set out to write children's books. I didn't imagine that would be something that I would ever do. But I wrote a short story for a writing contest, I guess 2 years ago, and I didn't win, but I had so much fun with the little story that I thought it would make a really cute kids book. So I started playing around with Canva and creating the illustrations and put the story to it. And that became Mrs. Applegate and the Three Kind Mice. And I had so much fun doing that that I then created two more, Lolly's Treasure Hunt and Hadley Had a Bad Day. And Lolly is about friendship. She's bored and wants something to do, and her mother says, "We'll go on a treasure hunt." So she goes through the jungle looking for treasure, and she finds some unexpected friends along the way. And then Hadley Had a Bad Day is about a little hedgehog who she wakes up and something goes wrong from the very beginning, and if it can go wrong that day, it does. She
Oh,
gets stung by a bee. She kicks the soccer ball into the wrong goal. It's just if it can go wrong, it does. And she just gets sadder and more upset throughout the day. And when she comes home, her mom tells her to look for something to thank God for, and that it will change the way she looks at things. And so that's what she does. The next day, she begins to look for what she can thank God for, even when things are still going wrong.
That is so sweet, and we can definitely all relate to having those kinds of days, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's good to teach children, that we might have those days, but there's still
Mhm.
some good that can be found in them.
Yep. Always something to be thankful for.
Yes. Now, when did you know you wanted to be a writer?
I have wanted to be a writer almost since I learned how to write. When I was really young, reading and writing actually were difficult. My kindergarten, first grade report cards all suggest as much that it was difficult for me, that I needed to continue to work on it. And then somewhere around age 9 and 10, I began to love the concept of story. I would tell stories, I would make up stories. And by the time I was 12, I was convinced that I could write a novel. And I started trying to write entire full length books. I started thinking that I could be published by the time I was like 13. So it was a funny journey, but it was a desire from my heart from a very long time ago that I was going to write stories someday, and I was going to see those stories go into the hands of readers.
Yes. How exciting. Some of those things that God does put in
Hmm.
our hearts, and sometimes they might take a while or many years to come to pass, but He has a way of bringing them about. Now, you
Hmm.
are going to be at the Read Write Rendezvous in Nashville in November, and their website describes this as a bookish community gathering. What is this author reader event about?
Well, I had the wonderful opportunity last year to attend as a reader for the first time, and it was absolutely amazing. So there's I believe this year there will be 40 Christian authors all in one place. And it's a day-long event where you get to talk to the authors, sit at tables with them, ask them their questions, and it's really a focus all about the reader. There's some guest speakers, so there'll be some keynote. There's games that readers can participate in, but also see the authors be silly and try to participate in. Part of the event is a book signing and a bookstore, so you can actually bring your own books from home and have the authors sign them, or you can buy them right there in the bookstore and have the authors sign them, get to meet them, get to talk with them, and just so it's not just a name on the cover anymore, but it's someone that you've actually got to visit with and fellowship with. And books flow like water. There's so many books, and you get to take home a huge swag bag of stuff and free books and more free books. And so it was just wonderful for a reader.
That is so great. I know they started these a few years ago, and I really want to go to one sometime, but I have not made it to
Mhm.
one yet. So I hope you guys just have a blast.
I believe this year is their special 10-year anniversary of the beginning of the idea.
Now, besides writing, what are some of the other delights in your life?
Well, I love to watch Hallmark mysteries with my husband, and that's something that we like to do together in the evenings. I also love board games and card games, any kind of game. I will pretty much play any game anytime. I'm always I'm always up for it.
Yes.
And I also love to read. I have my favorite authors that I collect everything they've put out, and I love, love, love romantic suspense and historical romance. So I spend a lot of time reading. I try to review books when I can and just get out there good literature for other people too.
Yes. Now, I think you're the first author that I've interviewed who lives in Wyoming. And I've seen Wyoming called the Wonderland of America. What do you love about living there?
So this question is kind of funny because yes, I do currently live in Wyoming. for 2 more weeks.
Oh,
In 2 weeks, my family is moving to South Dakota.
okay.
So it's kind of ironic. But yes, Wyoming has been probably is one of the most favorite places that I have lived. It's just, there's something different about this state. It is the smallest populated state in the whole country. And so there's a lot of elbow room and a lot of big open space, and the air is fresh. There's no real big cities, so you don't get smog, you don't get that cloudiness. There's a slower pace to life. People aren't in a rush. They get there when they get there.
Right.
And so there's just a real sense of community because there's not a whole lot of people around. And so they rely on each other during the summer months because winter can be so dark and so long that the summer months there's event after event. Every weekend people are getting together, celebrating things together, and just enjoying being together. And so it's a conservative state, so there's a real sense of following God's way, even for those who don't actually believe in God. They still have a moral compass that they're listening to. And so there's many Christian people here in Wyoming as well.
Well, I hope you find just as wonderful a community at your new home in South Dakota.
Thank you. I think so.
Yeah, that sounds lovely. Is there a scripture that has been meaningful to you recently?
I've been doing a lot of different study for the current book that I'm working on, matters of faith and unexpected storms in life. But nothing I can think of that really stood out right now. But I was going to tell you about my life verse. One of the verses that have meant the most to me is Ephesians 3:20, that talk about God being able to do more for us than we can even ask him or even imagine, that he has the ability to grant us those things. And that has always, brought comfort to me, that as someone who's had a massive imagination their whole life, that I think I can come up with quite a bit, but God can do more for me than even I could picture.
Oh, what an encouragement. I love that. Yes, he has such good things for us. And
Hmm.
sometimes, like you said, we can't even picture. We might could picture a lot, but his plans are always better than even our
Always
wildest
better.
imagination.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, I think about that. I didn't get married until I was 41. I thought I was going to be someone who got married very young just because of my
Hmm.
upbringing, because that was the desire of my heart. And God just, He did not bring that about. So, I mean, He had other things for me to do. But, now I've been married for 15 months
Hmm.
and it's just, I told my husband, I was like, the marriage that we have is everything that I ever dreamed it would be. We could keep him
Yep.
at the center and have that closeness. And it was just when God brought it about, it was the right time.
Yes, his plan is always best.
Yes. Well, how can readers connect with you?
So readers can find me pretty much anywhere on the internet under Stories by Gina. It's all one phrase, Stories by Gina. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Goodreads, and BookBub. And I also have a blog on my website, storiesbygina.com. And that's where I have my blog and talk about different books that are coming out. I interview a lot of authors there. Also, readers can sign up for my newsletter that goes out on the first of every month. And I try to share a little bit about what's going on in my life. Sometimes I have recipes or book sales that are going on. And while living in Wyoming, I've had a section called Weird Wyoming that has told some of the weirdest things that I have found about this state. I'm guessing that's going to have to change, when I get to South Dakota, maybe come
Yes.
up with something different.
Maybe something
But
silly in South Dakota.
yeah, let's find out what's unique about South Dakota.
Yes.
And but yeah, so find me online. It's Stories by Gina.
Listeners, please do go to storiesbygina.com to find out more about Gina's books and read her blog with tons of Christian fiction recommendations. Let me spell that for you. storiesbygina.com. If you don't check out anything else, please do look at her children's picture books. They are so adorable. Like I said at the beginning, I don't read a lot of romantic suspense personally, but I love the escape room theme of Gina's latest book, Escape Games, so I might have to look into that one. One of my local author friends writes romantic suspense, and I have read several of hers. I've also interviewed her here on the show. Her name is Kate Angelo, and her book, Girl Lost, just won first place in the romantic suspense category for the Stila Awards. I really liked Girl Lost. It had so many twists and turns with a found family aspect that I was especially drawn to. You can find my interview with Kate, where we talk about Girl Lost, on my YouTube channel, author Erin Mifflin. It's another well worth checking out. If you've enjoyed listening to this interview, I hope you'll stay tuned for more coming up in the next few weeks. I love talking to authors about their books and their faith, and I also love connecting readers with their next favorite story. I hope you'll listen in. You can find out more about me on my website, authorerinmifflin.com. I write historical romance, and my debut novel releases next April. On my website, you can find all the links for my social media, as well as sign up for my monthly newsletter, where I share life updates, recipes, book recommendations, and more. I would be so happy to have you join me over there. Until next time, happy reading!
Join us next week for another episode of The Well-Read Llama with your host, author Erin Mifflin. If you'd like to find out more about author Erin Mifflin, visit her Facebook and Instagram accounts.